Well, hello, and happy Saturday to everyone. I hope everyone is having a great Saturday and had a great week so far. I'm Don Terrell, and I want to thank you for joining me for another great episode of The Color of Motion. And I hope you are as excited as I am to dive into this episode here. I've been so looking forward to connecting with my friend and my brother here to really talk about his story. You know the drill. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from, so I can give you a big shout out while I make sure that we are broadcasting from all my channels here. Again, let me know where you're tuning in from, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. I broadcast live on all of my channels here: Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can find the broadcast and connect with me so that you can make sure that you get all the broadcasts live. Let me throw this up here. Contact me at don@donterrell.com. But again, I want to make sure that you connect with me on all three of these channels so that you get live notifications when I go live. Mr. Shapiro, I appreciate you tuning in as always. Good afternoon from New York City. I appreciate that. Mr. Chris Johnson from Georgia, tuning in from LinkedIn. Thank you, my brother, for tuning in for sure. My long distance friend here, Mr. Dave Hartshorn from the UK. Good evening from the UK, all the way over across the pond there, as they say. But again, just making sure before we dive in real quick, just making sure that again, we are broadcasting live on all the platforms here. Again, let me know where you are tuning in from. Say hey. This, as you know, is the Color of Motion, where stories come in all shades for sure. Hold on, hide that. Go back here. The Color of Motion, where stories come in all shades. We broadcast every Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, for sure. I do want to make sure that I point out for sure. Make sure, again, you subscribe specifically to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Don Terrell, where you can check out not only this show live, but all the past episodes and all the other original content that I have and going to be putting on that channel specifically. Also, if you're tuning in from another channel, please make sure, especially like Facebook, and please make sure that you give StreamYard permission so that we can pull your name and your comment so that, again, I can show you some love and give you a shout out for sure. Okay. I am broadcasting on there, broadcasting on Facebook, broadcasting on YouTube. So we are really good to go. Okay, we are good to dive in. I did that pretty quick too. So again, make sure that you say hello throughout the show. And like I said, I'm really excited about diving in and kind of talking with this next guest. This is his inaugural first interview, so I'm so thrilled and honored to be the first one first show that he's been on for sure. Mr. Robert Carter. Uh, let's see. Let me throw this up here, Robert. Come on. Okay. What's good? Audio is a bit spotty. Am I coming in clear? Please let me know. And anybody, Let me know how it's going, whether the audio, the video. So the audio's a bit spotty. Please let me know if it sounds good on my end. So I'm not sure, but hopefully it's just a temporary glitch there. All right, let's get cracking. I'm excited again to dive into this show. Just a little bit of background on my next guest. He hails from Columbus, Georgia, and has a passion for character design. He enjoys listening to music and watching movies, which really inspires him to create. He's also inspired by life and the people that he meets. So, new experiences are things that he seeks outside of work. He's a former tattoo apprentice, which, when now that I, have read that and really look at his art, it really does kind of reflect a tattoo style, because his art is really graphical. We're gonna dive into that a little bit as well. He's an Army veteran, which I appreciate him serving a country. Did one combat tour in Afghanistan, and we're gonna dive a little into that as well. Visual development major, and now working as a character designer at the Emmy Award winning studio Floyd County Production. And if any of you uh, are familiar with the animated series Archer, that is kind of the studio behind, which is a really great animated show. That is the studio behind that. So again, I am really looking forward. Let me throw this up again. I can hear you well. It just crackles a bit when I speak. I want to test that out moving forward. I appreciate you letting me know that, Mr. Carter, for sure. Again, really looking forward to having this guest on. Please, everybody, help me welcome my friend and great artist, Mr. Joshua Upshaw.
Thank you.
Mr. Joshua, how are you doing, sir?
Going on, Don.
Oh man, I appreciate you and welcome you to the show. I
Thank you.
take a quick
Happy
sip.
here.
Um, and so excited to have you on. Like I said, I've been a big admirer, of course, long before we connected, of your artwork and your designs. You're just a phenomenal artist and designer. And so I'm looking forward to just really sitting down and really kind of diving into your backstory. 'Cause when we jumped on the call and had a little pre-call and we're, doing a little talking, it really was interesting finding out a lot about just your story, the kind of the things that you've gone through and have done. So I gave a little intro, but kind of, feeling a little more about you, Joshua Upshaw. How you got started, and what made you want to kind of get into this space where you kind of always artistically inclined.
Yeah, so, whew, well, let's start at the beginning. Uh, for as long as I can remember, I always liked drawing. I think the first picture that I remember drawing was when I think I did stick figures of Power Rangers and marker, and they were my mom's markers. So yeah, I got in trouble for that, but they liked the picture. So that was the beginning, and yeah, I think like from then on, uh, always had like art as like an option or mainly my main avenue of expression. The way that I grew up was like very strict. That's the best way to put it. So I
Yeah.
wasn't really able to express myself like through language or like emotion or anything like that. So I always had like artwork and yeah. So at the option, people are generally given is to express themselves outward. Well, I dove more so inward into myself, and as a result of that, I became like really creative. I think, or at least that's my philosophy right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with it because it sounds good.
We'll go with that. We'll go
Yeah,
with that.
but it's always been a hobby, man, and um, it's not until recently when I got out of the army I decided to go more professional with it. I didn't think at the time I was good enough, really, to pursue it as a career. I didn't think it was possible to pursue it as a career. So yeah, I don't know, man. I was just like, fuck it, and I just went for it.
Gotcha,
Can we
gotcha.
curse in here?
Yeah, go ahead. Be you.
Okay.
Be you.
All right.
I want
Well,
all my guests to be me. It's pretty PG, but I mean, hey,
yeah. I'll try to tone it back, but
all right, well, you're good. You're
no
good.
promises.
So, what made you? I mean, what was your? Like I said in the your introduction, you're an Army veteran, and again, thank you for serving. Like I said, all my brothers were in the service, and of course, I was gonna go, but I had surgery, so they never wouldn't take me. But what was your motivating reasoning for initially, I guess, doing that? And did you go like right out after you graduated from school, or was there a period of time in between?
Okay, I see. So originally, when I got out of the army, I wanted to go to college of some sort. And I initially had the plan of becoming a philosopher. I mean, go
Wow.
figure. Good luck finding a job there, huh? But but yeah, I ultimately decided against it, and my wife and well, mainly my wife, she was like, "Oh, how about you go to school for art?" I was like, "Yeah, I could do art. I've always been good at art." So um, my major at the time was fine art because I just worked primarily traditional. But then I started to think like long term wise, and I think having kids forced me to think like long term wise,
Yeah,
and at the time, and financial wise too, because being poor sucks. And
yeah, it does.
um, yeah, it does. It's trash. I don't recommend it for
Yeah,
anybody. So
yeah. It's not a good way to live. So what were
no,
you
it's not. It's
doing?
expensive.
What was uh position in the army? What did you
Um,
do in the army?
I was so the interest. Well, let me put this in context first. Um, the army is weird because they'll give you or you'll pick a specific job, but you won't do it. So, which was my case. Um, well, let me more context. The main reason why I joined the military because I was poor, like financially. I was
Yeah,
financially challenged, not poor. That's a different conversation
yeah,
though.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I was financially challenged, and I just needed to get out of my hometown as quickly as I could. And so I joined the military. I wouldn't at the time, I wouldn't consider my or wouldn't have considered myself like a patriot per se,
yeah,
but I knew the military was the quickest way out of from where I was.
yeah,
So, and I fucked around too much in high school anyway to get like a whatever. And so I joined the military, and um, I chose a non-combat job, which was cook. They promised me that I would never see combat. I would never deploy or anything like that.
yeah.
Of course, this was bullshit. Uh, Given to me straight from the silver platter of Uncle. I mean, oof, Uncle Sam. Yeah, him.
Yeah, exactly.
Eh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like the first person who deployed, like right out of training. So
Wow, wow, wow.
yeah, talking
So
about a kick to the balls with that.
so evidently
So
you saw combat.
yeah, I was deployed. I was shot at. RPG, small arms fire. Um, Never returned fire, thank God.
Yeah,
But I've seen like a lot of hurt people.
yeah,
Hurt people But I'm still working through that.
Yeah, yeah. And we kind of touched a little bit on it when we talked before. And like I said, if it's, a thing you don't want to talk about, that's fine. About
Yeah.
dealing with, and I know a lot of soldiers come back dealing
Mhm.
with it, especially if they've seen, combat on a consistent basis and that type of thing.
Mhm.
PTSD
Yeah.
is something that you were dealing with. How do you
Mhm.
feel like, or do you feel like that's had an effect on your art in
Mhm.
any kind of way?
Yeah, absolutely. So, primarily what I did was I was, um, let's see, what's the best way to word this? Escorted, transported, and detained local nationals suspected of war crimes. So I worked a lot with like CID and local national interpreters.
Yeah,
That was my day-to-day thing. Majority of the time, uh, like we'll go out on like transport missions, like move people like left and right. I don't think this. I'm trying to remember the timeline on OPSEC because there's like certain rules that you can't talk about stuff, but I think
yeah,
it's been over 10 years. Yeah, it's been over 10 years. So I can say whatever fuck I want. But um so in this job I got to see like a lot of uh dark aspects of like humanity, and
yeah,
also that revealed a lot about myself as well because you know, a lot of people say they won't do certain things, but it's not until they're in that position
yeah,
you'll never know. Like you'll
yeah,
think you'll know what you'll do in certain situations. Oh, I'll be tough and cool. I'll be strong.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, you do not know until, or you'll never hurt anybody. Like that's a lot of thing people say.
yeah,
Oh, I never do that, but yeah, put yourself in the right situation, routing the right people. I mean, you'll do anything. You'll be surprised.
yeah,
But as how that affected my artwork, going back to your question, I think it made it more darker, more serious, especially in comparison to my peers at the time.
yeah,
In which case, when I went to school, um, a lot of people they were like really into like Pixar. They're really into like that Disney, Cal Arts, like real
yeah,
cute shit. And I got the almost like a pressure from the teachers to be forced into that category. So of course, being the person that I am, I was like, "Fuck no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do something else." So I lean really far into like the darker aspects of um, like design and like characters. I wanted to explore something different because like everybody's doing this cute shit. Everybody wants to appeal to a wider audience, but I was really focused on what I wanted to do, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So, and a lot of that is like driven through what I personally experience or what um my mind can imagine. And of course, I feel if you've explored those aspects of yourself, I mean, you just can't unsee like certain things. So,
yeah,
of
yeah.
course, as like a visual person, I'm gonna find some way to convey all that information into my characters. And of course, I'll warp them, like into way it's cool because there's certain things that's not cool, but the trick is to make it cool. So,
Well, I think that, and then I think that's what really makes your art or anybody's art really better when they're able to pull something from themselves and pull experiences from themselves and
hmm
put that into their art. It makes it, I feel, much more authentic and much more better. Which,
yeah.
like I said, you have a very unique style. Um, were you doing? You were doing. You worked as a tattoo apprentice. Were you
Mhm.
doing like kind of tattooing, or did you start doing that in the army, or did you transition into that afterwards? And do you feel like that really kind of helped elevate your art even better, help you find your style even quicker, being a tattoo
Um,
artist?
I don't think so. Um, Well, no, I don't think so. Um, Although it was, well, in a way, because the people that I've met, a lot of times, and this is how stereotypes goes, but a lot of times when you visualize a tattoo artist, and the people that I worked with were like really wacky characters. I mean, but they were all like good people, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I think maybe that has influenced I didn't tattoo anybody when I was in Florida, but I did do like stencils. I did like a lot of interacting with like people, setting up workstations. I got my first tattoo there, which was pretty cool.
So,
Hurt like
how
shit.
would you
It was on my
describe
wrist.
your style? I mean, if somebody
Oh
asks you
yeah.
what what's your style? I mean, how would you describe like what your style is?
Um, well, I would say as far as style goes, I don't have like one specific style. There's a style that I like to use, but I have like because of my job and just because the nature of being like a visual development artist, you have to like draw in all sorts of styles. So um, my background is like traditional charcoal,
Yeah.
proportions, like real realistic like anatomy. So that's, I mean, my groundwork. As far as in the style that I like to use, that's usually like displayed where people like know like my majority of my artwork from. It's it's like a mix between, or the artist that influenced that particular style is Mobius, Jamie Hewlett, Robert Valley, and um, a little bit of I think the guy's name is Kaiserilla.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And as far as rhythm goes, um, what's her name? Loish. I reference or I try to, see what they do, watch their videos, try to emulate that. But of course, like in my own way.
Yeah.
Not trying to like do like a direct master copy of what I'm seeing, but try to translate the information and putting out in a way that I understand it,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I am throwing up some of, like I said, everybody
Oh,
you
you censor that booby, man.
yeah, you can see it's a little PG here, but that's okay. Hey, it's art. And if
Parents hide the
you can
kids.
appreciate it for what it is, it's art.
Yeah.
But it's some killer art. And like I said, I just love the style that you draw in.
Thank you.
And really I
Thank
feel
you.
impactful. Everybody, I hope you like it as well. And like I said, if you're not familiar with Archer, the animated series, it kind of lends into that kind of really graphical style. I like Scooby Doo character there, Thelma,
Yeah.
Thelma,
I,
ready
I
to rock,
combined her with
ready
Laura Croft.
to roll. But such great work, and I'm
Thank you.
getting ready to throw up. Uh,
You underestimate my power!
That's so cool. Who did that? Who made that?
such great work, man.
Thank
Such
you.
awesome work for sure. How long did it take you to actually do that piece?
Um, uh, I don't know. It's a weird question because, like when I'm making characters, like even like right now, I'm making characters. Like I always like am thinking about characters.
Yeah.
So that particular character may be like because I'll like see something and then like if I see like a certain
Oops. Oh, sorry. That was
huh?
my bad there. That was my bad. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there
Highlight.
I am.
Uh, you were saying.
Yeah, so when I see like a certain pose or a certain uniform or get like a certain inspiration, I kind of like stow it away like in the back and combine it with like other images that I've seen in the past. So I'm like, that's like a constant thing that I do. Um, and like, I don't know, so to say like how long I've made this character, maybe like a couple months, but like actually drawing it,
Yeah.
like I think like 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours, because I was live streaming, so I was like talking to other people,
Gotcha.
and I think I took like a lot of smoke breaks, and I was drawing like from imagination too, so I don't think that there was no reference used.
Yeah.
Other
So up until kind of this point,
Mm,
you know, your stint in the service,
mm.
a tattoo person. What's been the biggest, I guess, best piece of advice or best thing advice anybody's kind of given you that's kind of stuck with you?
Don't listen to people. Don't listen to people what people say, Eh, and within reason, of course,
Yeah.
because like some people want the best for you,
Yeah.
and that's always not conveyed in a way that's constructive. Like they want what's best for you, but they don't know how to word it because the way that they're looking at the particular problem is through their lens and through their limits of ability. See,
Yeah.
nobody understands that that you can do anything you want for the most part. And when people will say that you can't do certain things, especially the people that's closer to you,
Yeah.
they'll say you can't do this, or they'll put like certain parameters around you
Yeah.
in a way to try to protect you.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, don't listen to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like you said
Just
before,
just keep moving.
it's usually from their own perspective or their own fear of not being able to do it or not take that step out
Yeah.
there. Um, from your perspective, what makes a great story? I mean, you've worked on a lot of projects
Mhm.
and done a lot of things to this day. For you, what makes a great story and makes a great character?
A great character and a great story, something that has to relate to the viewer, because ultimately, uh, the viewer the viewer has to see themselves in it. The viewer has to project their consciousness into what they're seeing. So that's the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
That's what makes stories like so powerful and so meaningful to people because they put themselves in it. Um, and I think that's like a really subtle thing that a lot of character artists don't get. It's because they're designing a character, but they're not. I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird. Like because you can see like character designs and it just doesn't look like a person. It doesn't look relatable. It doesn't connect with the viewer. There's a level of disconnect that I can't properly explain. That you just have to put into characters. And I don't know what that is. uh,
well, do you think, because like you said, you are a like I said in your bio, a lover of life and experiences? Do you
yeah.
think that's a big part of it? Just kind of
Yes.
drawing from the life around you and really
Hmm.
experiencing and pulling that into your art?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it has to do with feeling. You have to put feeling into your work, like passion, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you can tell when somebody's just going through the motions, like they have the academic knowledge, but they don't have the experience. They don't have the breath that needed to be breathed into this character in order to bring it to life. That's the best way I can explain
Yeah.
it. That feeling, it has to have feeling. Characters that have feeling that resonate with the people. Like to capture somebody's attention with a still image, that's a very hard thing to do, especially with all the shit that's going on now with
Yeah.
3D imaging and all this beautiful interactive stuff. And here I am presenting a still image that says all, if not more, to the person without saying nothing. That's impossible. That's an impossible thing to do and to ask of anyone.
Yeah.
And I have the delight of doing it every day. And that's amazing.
Now, have you dabbled in 3D, or do you just prefer? Well, so which do you kind of prefer, 2D or 3D, or do you just love the whole process? Doesn't matter which medium, as long as it's the creative process of developing a character and bringing life to a character.
I like 2D because it's more hands-on than 3D. And I could be saying that because I like the know-how, or really like I'm still new to like ZBrush, even though I've been using it for a while.
Yeah.
But I just prefer, I don't know, I prefer 2D. I try not to limit myself, but I prefer 2D. I dabbled in storyboarding as well. A little bit of animation here and there. 3D. But yeah, I always come back to just 2D, like flat. And figuring out new ways, quicker ways, more effective ways,
Oh, I think I froze up here. Hope I'm still going. Yeah, we are. Oh, man. I'm telling you. Everybody, again, we are with my very special friend and guest, Joshua Upshaw, with character designer with Floyd County Production. Very super talented artist and designer. And hold on here, doing a lot of clicking. We are going to, I want to kind of ask you a little bit about your thoughts on diversity. But before we dive into that question, we're going to take a quick commercial break here.
Nice.
Make sure you tune in. We'll be right back. Jump in. I apologize, everybody. Technical. I'm having some or StreamYard is. All right, we are back.
Are we back?
Yes, we are back after a little technical difficulties here. StreamYard's kind of acted up on me today for sure. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about what your thoughts about just, the need for more diversity in this field that you're in, character design. I know my guest last week, he is a character designer and children's book illustrator. But I mean, where do you? Obviously, we have a long way to go, but we're starting to see kind of this. I want to say renaissance.
Yeah.
Because of the times that we're in. But we're starting to see a lot more of us start to come to the forefront.
Mhm.
Just what are your thoughts about, what we could do, or is it incumbent on studios, or is it more for just us to start putting work out there?
Well, I think that's a complicated issue, and of course, like everything can be done to improve, like whether that be through like us, like as a black community, or even companies who are looking to hire more diverse workforce. I think what we're doing right now helps
Yeah,
because it puts it's like almost like a message, like saying, like, hey, we're out here, we're doing our thing. There's different avenues of success for Black people rather than the ones that's portrayed to us like constantly.
yeah,
Like, of course, get into athletics. Of course, become like in the movies or something like that.
yeah,
Well, what about all the other fucking jobs that exist out there? All the different avenues of success, and specifically when it comes to um, like animation, like in my case, there's a huge lack of representation for anybody who isn't a white man.
yeah, yeah,
Just to be clear, and that shit is trash.
yeah,
It's like the whole idea that um, okay, we talked about projecting somebody's self into like characters, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so like my whole entire childhood, I don't think I can remember like any cartoon character, um, like any main cartoon character, positive cartoon character, like strong,
yeah,
awesome, dope as hell. Like
yeah.
I can't remember any character, any black character like that. It just didn't exist
Yeah,
for the most part, or at least it wasn't brought into the mainstream as much as the white characters. And I mean, that I feel like that's more so starting to change, and that will change like in the future. Like especially like just imagine like seeing the character like Black Panther on big screen, like
yeah,
growing up with that, or seeing like Miles Morales like on the big screen, and
yeah,
then this is your Spider-Man now, this is your Black Panther, like that's fantastic. I think we need more characters like that. Not not like this whole thing, and I'm completely against this um like changing characters black. It's
yeah,
like we don't need that. We there's more ideas out there. There's more types of characters that you can build. You don't just need to just turn a random character black. I
yeah,
mean, just make a new character. I mean, if you can't think of a new character, then hire a black artist, who I'm pretty sure can.
yeah,
Just make a new character.
yeah,
It's that simple.
yeah.
Um,
Now,
as far as in,
I always thought
oh
that was a kind of a big issue, whether it was
yeah,
with toys or whatnot. It just seemed
mm,
like all they did was just color the same character black,
yeah,
as opposed
that's
to,
lazy.
really making
That's
it
lazy.
authentic. But I think that goes to the point of what you were just saying of really bringing in somebody that brings an authentic voice
Yeah.
and style into the character.
hmm There's plenty of black artists out there too. You just have to look, and this falls on the company's part or whoever, um, does those hires. And then with that too, like I would say, like I'm a huge proponent of the idea that um, if you're gonna portray a black person or black character or tell a black story, there needs to be black people in positions not only of creativity but
Yeah.
in positions to call the shots,
Shots. Yeah.
to write the scripts. Like this is not just like a one thing, like a one-off. Oh, we just put our black person in there. Oh, no, we're done. We're so diverse. Let's
Yeah.
advertise it on Twitter or whatever. No,
Yeah.
that's dumb. To get people like in higher positions as well, because there are producers, there's writers, there's art directors who aren't black, who are telling black stories and black character stories. So,
Yeah. I
and
think.
it's usually not accurate.
Well, I think there is a like you said, is there's such a big need for uh, black representation, and not in any cultural representation that's putting out their story, um, uh, from not just the bottom up, but from the top down. Having somebody like you said as an executive that's really a decision maker, that can bring in that talent that is representative of it. And I think the big thing with, say, like Black Panther and Into the Spider-Verse was it really opened people's eyes of just the success that just a story that seemingly is with a black lead or a black cast that has such a big impact. Of course, from a studio's point of view, they're looking at the bottom line and how much it makes, but I think it really opened their eyes to show that, okay, we really can put the dollars behind it and it really have an impact on the box office.
Yeah. I want to touch on that too. Um, any business should know, especially like in the business of like creating a product. In our case, the artists are the product in the animation and what they produce, because the things that an artist produce and who they are as a person is one. So artists are the product. If you have a diverse product, you're going to reach a more diverse or range of people. If you have a diverse product, you're going to have more money coming your way, more money from different sources. So it's like a no-brainer. And this seems like common sense, but um, it's, I mean, I feel like it'll only like continue to trend upward,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's only so many times you can tell a story from like a single perspective when there's like literally there's a literally a spectrum, and
Yeah.
you're only focusing on just this little teensy weensy part. And but another thing I want to touch back on, as far as in like getting into animation, like as a black artist, it's difficult and it's expensive, because a lot of these companies, they require you to have a bachelor's. My wife works in HR, and a lot of times in HR, if you don't have um, a degree, they'll just throw your resume out. They don't care. It's like, oh, no degree. And of course, going to school is expensive. It's not always an option for people. Um, and then even before that, like getting equipment, like being an artist outside of traditional art, even traditional art can be expensive with
Yeah.
sketchbooks and pencils, graphite, and all this other stuff. But you talk about digital artwork, now you have to pay for a computer if you don't already have one. You have to pay for a tablet of some sort, a monitor, um, and Photoshop. And everybody knows Photoshop is expensive. So there is a paywall in a way that it kind of sort of blocks disenfranchised groups of people out of the industry completely. And I'm not sure if this is done on purpose. I'm not going to get into conspiracy, but I mean, majority of the people of color, black people in particular, are part of these disenfranchised groups, especially the youth. So if the youth don't have access to these resources, of course, they're not going to be in this,
Yeah.
field. So, I mean, it just sucks, like because I come from like a really um, low income neighborhood, Oakland Park, Columbus, Georgia. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
So it's like I know the mind frame, I know the mindset, I know the I know the feeling of coming from like a limited options. You don't
Yeah,
have many options to choose from.
limited
So
resources. Yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
I mean that sucks.
it's interesting that you said that as speaking on your wife in human resources. So you don't feel like in creative space, it's not so much important about the degree as it is, say, your portfolio or your reel and the talent. Do you think majority of companies feel like, hey, he's got to have a degree, or are they looking at, okay, wow, this is a talented artist. He may need some, refining on the process of
Mm.
production and that, but skill wise, he's got talent, and his reel is kick ass real.
Yeah, I feel like that depends on the company. Like the company that I work for now, they're really cool about that. Um, like they're more so looking for not only talent, but is this person like a good person to work with, you know? So
Yeah,
like having like soft skills, like social skills, courteous, you know, if you're like on time, if you're like, you know, like a respectable person,
yeah,
like you're fun to work with.
yeah.
That's
I,
something that my specific company look for. But
I've,
as far as in
I've heard that's big in a lot of companies. Company
yeah,
culture. They want somebody that fits into the company culture. That
yeah,
it just, like
yeah.
they like to put it, not an asshole. So
Yeah, pretty much. Don't be an asshole. It's like, and surprisingly, there's a lot of assholes in the art community, man. Like I'm one of them, so I should know. But no, I can be, but I choose not to be. But a lot of people, you know, they don't have that choice because they lack a certain awareness about themselves.
yeah,
So they kind of like step on people, and then they're like saying, "Oh," because I ran into a lot of people like this. This is how it's going to be in the industry. Everybody's going to be mean to you, and it's not like that at all. Don't listen to those people. They
yeah,
don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Um, all the artists that I've worked with so far are some of the most chill, talented, and genuine people, and that's how it is.
yeah,
And like it makes like a cohesive work environment. Um, and that's good to that makes you want to create a good product.
yeah,
So a lot of companies do try to foster that type of work environment, but then there are some who are like really mechanical to their approach.
yeah,
Um, I'm not gonna throw any company names out there,
yeah.
just in case in the future I may work for them, and then they dig up this video and they're like, "Aha!"
Then
So nah,
we got
we
this.
ain't throwing no names. So no name dropping.
Nah, I
But
really feel
but
like,
I heard some companies
yeah,
like yeah they'll their work environment is toxic and it's like very competitive, like in between your peers, nobody talks to each other. I have heard that, but that may be just horror stories that
yeah,
people made up, or
yeah,
it may be like somebody's personal experience. And that's another thing too about people's personal experience. Like if somebody has like an overwhelmingly negative um like
personality.
work experience,
Yeah,
no, just like their work experience at
okay,
a specific studio, don't be deterred. If you have like an option to work there, see how it is for yourself. If you
yeah,
don't like it, then you can just leave.
yeah,
But don't take people's other or their experience as your own. Like just take it with a grain of salt and like keep it moving.
yeah,
So
yeah. Skill level
like
wise,
even my words.
skill level wise, what do you think you've kind of picked up to this point, or even at the studio at your, working at now? Some of
Mm,
the things, that you've kind of learned and picked up. How is your kind of uh,
no, 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 no.
skill leveled up, do you think?
Oh, consistency, speed, um, attention to detail, attention to line work, attention to style too has helped because I had to, on my first TV project, I had to draw in a particular style that was really close to my own, but it was subtle changes that I had to change. Yeah, that like so attention to detail to particular styles. My line work had to be really clean because uh, you have to submit your work in stages, right, for it to be approved. you have to clean up your line work, just so you help, like, just further down the pipeline. So as a character designer, you're kind of like, you get the script, you get the storyboard character and like what they want, and then you just go, you just create a character.
Yeah.
So you create a sketch, and then you clean the sketch up, line it, color, all the other stuff. And this is like a back and forth process between the artist, the leads, and the art director. So um, it's like that. But as far as then how has it helped? I think just being around like really talented artists in general
Mhm.
and seeing how they work and just like the environment, it'll improve anybody. I feel like if you're just like in that professional environment, of course you want your work to be up there. So it like forces you to kind of like take that next step. Like you have to keep going upward.
Yeah.
Of course, because you don't want to let your team down. Or this is just for me. I don't want to let my team down, and um I don't want to cause kind of like a kink in the whole line of
Yeah.
production. I don't want to hold anything up.
Yeah. Well, I
So
think if you go into it, like you said, into the work environment with a great attitude, with the hey, I'm looking to really learn
yeah,
from, and it's a really collaborative space that everybody is, feeding everybody else. I
mm,
think your work can't help but grow if you're
yeah.
really open to just soaking in everything that you can get from everybody else.
Mm. And the just like the level of work that I have to put out. So when I was in college, I had to create a character like every, I think, 2 days. It was really 3 days, because I took a summer class for character design. If you're in college, don't do that. It will stress you the hell out. But I did that, and I was also taking 2 other classes with that. So I was basically taking 6 classes because summer classes are condensed, and that's just tough. I don't recommend doing that. I lost a lot of sleep, got a lot of gray hair, but I had to create a character like every couple days, and just in my work environment, I only worked at night because I was like watching the kids in the daytime,
Yeah.
and doing schoolwork in the daytime. But like as far as in homework goes and creating characters, I did everything at night. So once everybody went to sleep, I had 9 until basically I finished to work. And this was like in a 2-bedroom apartment. So the environment was always like high stress, get it done, move, move, move. If I don't, then I'm a lag behind. So that prepared me for production work. And in production work is a little more comfortable work environment, or a lot more comfortable in my case, work environment, but
Yeah.
the workload is higher. So I have to produce between, I'd say the most characters I've made probably was like 10 characters in a week.
Wow.
So that's a lot of characters that I have to go
So
like
have you
produce.
ever had a character where you just struggled to kind of uh, get it to that right point where the director or producer, was saying, okay, this is it? Have you ever had that kind
Um,
of challenge where it's taking me a while to really get this?
yeah, that happens quite a bit because a lot of times the descriptions are vague, and this goes into like filling. Um, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this. There's a lot of memes where it comes to interacting with clients who will say, make this pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to translate a feeling. Um, but the best way that I've heard, and because all artists experience this, especially if you're a character designer, like somebody will, the best way I heard, and I heard this at work, a producer told an artist to make this character feel like his childhood. So good luck interpreting that. But what he was referring to is like the color palette. the shapes of the character, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like people just usually don't know how to word it. So you just have to interpret what they're saying, and not take it as like base value. But yeah, as far as in the characters that I've had, yeah, there's always like some there's always, well, not always. Sometimes there's a little friction between um like the leads, like
Yeah.
their choice in design, and the artist, like their choice in design, and as well as the producer and the art director. But yeah, and this is me because I am a hard-headed person. I have to understand that my job is to produce a character for them. So in a way, they're a client for
Yeah.
me. So if you have like that mentality of I'm here to produce your vision
Yeah.
and not particularly my vision,
Yeah.
then that will be more helpful, I think, because like at the end of the day, you are working for them. But that leads me to like my next thought. I want to work for myself, and I was actually thinking about retiring
Right.
because I mean,
What would be your dream project? Or obviously, I mean, you say you don't tend to lean towards like Pixar's Disney style.
no.
What would be a project that you could say, oh, okay, I really could sink my teeth into this, or would really like to sink my teeth into this?
Oh, I'm doing them. I'm doing them. I worked on the first one last year, and the next one, or the one that I'm on right now, is, yeah, they're my dream jobs for
Gotcha.
sure.
Well, definitely
Um,
looking forward to having you back and giving more detail about that. But
yeah.
working for yourself, do you think that's the kind of the end goal for really how us as Black creatives, or
Mhm.
even any creative race, really truly gets their content out there? I would hope studios like, Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey
Mhm.
really put the dollars in, because they have the resources and they have
Yeah.
the knowledge of the industry, to
Mhm.
really put behind a lot of creatives that could tell, get more stories out there. Do you think it's gonna take that more of us creating our own businesses and own studios,
Mm.
before,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think so. Because, and I was just talking to my oldest about this. I seek freedom. I seek financial freedom. And in America, especially as a black person, I feel like freedom is, um, well, a form of freedom that's really sought after is financial freedom
Yeah,
and being an entrepreneur. I'm not trying to be like a billionaire or anything like that. I just want to build wealth for my family
yeah,
and pass it on so they don't have to go through the bullshit that I did.
yeah,
So in my mind, I imagine my kids without the barriers of poverty or worrying about worrying about going to war in order to pay for my college,
yeah,
or having their body degraded by going to the military at 20 something years old with already arthritis and nerve damage.
yeah,
I mean, that's something that I don't want my kids to experience. So I know I had to think further down the line, and entrepreneurship, working for myself and building wealth for myself and my family through my own brand is something that is going to help them down the line. It's going to help me, but it's also going to help them. And that's what I'm concerned about at this moment in my life right now.
yeah,
So, and that's where I'm ahead. I told my family they won't have to worry about money ever. And I meant that shit.
yeah,
And that's what's about to happen. So, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. Like everything in my life, I've
yeah.
done that.
Not
So,
like you said, setting goals is definitely the key and direction. Um, your style, I mean, is it, and not to kind of jump in early to the projects that you've worked on already, but
I can't talk about it.
yeah, you can't really talk
I'm
about.
just kidding.
You can't really talk about. Well, that's a
Yeah.
given. Like I said, I know most people can't really talk about or don't really want to, can't or won't can't talk about the current things that they're working on. But future projects, do you like action? Do you like adventure, fantasy? I mean, what type of stories do you really enjoy telling?
Mm,
You said earlier your art tended to kind of lean on the darker side,
yeah.
that fall into say like anime style, real cerebral type of stories, or more lighthearted type of stories. You don't really fall on the Pixar Disney style,
Mm-mm.
but is it more of adult type of animation? Say like Archer is more kind of adult.
Mm.
It's definitely not Pixar or Disney, but it's more adult style. Is that what tends to kind of attract you that you really like? I mean, just from your art perspective and the type of art that you've done, it kind of lends more towards the more edgier adult side. Is that what you kind of tend to like?
Yeah. Well, there's just certain stories that, um, like a child's brain, like they either can't comprehend, they won't be able to get the message, or they just shouldn't be looking at in general.
Yeah,
And um, I don't want to be limited by that. I think the images that, um, or I think the stories that I do want to tell are worth telling, um, and haven't been told before, at least in the way that I want to tell them. And these are all like personal stuff that
yeah,
I want to work on, or that I have been working on for a couple of years, whether that be like through writing or like just sketching. But I want to tackle like I don't want to be known for like just doing like one thing or one particular like career choice.
yeah, yeah,
Um, like I don't want my position right now as a character artist to be the end all be all,
yeah,
because for a long time of my life, for a large part of my life, this was the end goal for me.
yeah.
So I had to make like new goals. Like I have to aim like higher and like reach like another level, because I think that's part of life. That's living.
Yeah.
I don't want to stagnate either. I'm not a stagnant type of person.
So that
Um,
includes writing or
mhm,
producing or
mhm,
directing or whatever that might be.
yeah, and I want to create stories that, of course, resonate, but just like stories that should have always existed, that don't exist right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to better describe that, but
Well,
um,
and I think it's like I said, just being because I had this conversation with my last guest last week,
mm,
Robert, and he's a character designer, but he tends to lean more towards children's, uh, and of course he's really wants his characters and stories to really be, inspirational for children. So
mm,
he tends to really lean more towards children animation. I was telling him, I said, well, I love, my range, of what I
mm,
like is so vast that I love, trust me, I love Pixar children's animations and speaking to that
mm,
point, but I also love more cerebral adult animations like anime and
mm.
animations like that. So it was really, not getting myself boxed into one thing or the other, just more what do I like and what does the story that I'm trying to tell really kind of fit in really doing that.
I think in a way I am. My target audience is children, but like the inner child for an adult. Um, and maybe I imagine that, because I feel like that's an important aspect of a person. And I feel like as we grow older, we go through life, we experience all this shit in life. And in a way, it kind of silenced the inner child. And I feel like the aspect of everybody's inner child is important. Like that idea of wonder, I think, is important. Like playfulness, everything associated with a child's um, like archetype,
Yeah.
like that's important to maintain through adulthood, so that way you don't lose that part of yourself. And I think through like animation, cartoons, like entertainment, um, I think those things appeal to your inner child is in a way that it serves as a beacon. Like, hey, don't let this aspect of yourself die,
Yeah.
because you see people who have let that part of themselves die, and
Yeah.
they're miserable, they're fucking terrible to be around. They're all like, "Oh, I'm so edgy and gloomy."
Yeah.
It's like shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to be around that. So it's like in a way I'm doing everybody a service by creating
I
creating this shit.
definitely agree with you on that. In the sense that
Yeah.
that's a part of you that, and trust me, like I said, I've had this conversation not only with other friends but family as well. That I've been just so blessed to be able to still do what I always have loved doing. And so even at this age that I'm at, I still have a love and a passion for
Yeah.
what I enjoy doing. So not letting that inner child, I know once you let that inner
Mhm.
child go or die, then
Yeah.
like you said, it takes you into this place that you just really, people really don't want to be around, or you're just
Yep.
really not moving forward because you're
Yeah.
not allowing yourself to feel on that kind of innocent child level to
Mhm.
think that anything that I can imagine I can do.
Yeah. That's the beauty of keeping that part alive, of yourself alive. Because I mean, which is not an easy thing to do. And I think this is a job of a creative, is to keep this in mind, that their target audience is like, hey, this is for them, you know? And like like just through life in general, man, like there's nothing easy about life. Like
No,
nobody is saying that. And
and it has a
you
way
go through life.
of beating the child out of you.
Exactly. Life will beat the child out of you like
Really
100%. Like them bills start coming, start slapping you in the face,
oh
everything
man.
start breaking down, start getting hungry and shit.
Oh yeah.
Like you just get locked into like this survival mode where you're only operating on like the lowest spectrum of reality, and that shit sucks. And I know what it's like to be there. It's very hard to get out of. Um, and but yeah, like keeping that inner child alive is key, and it's key to as being a creative too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um,
For sure, for sure. If you could, like I said, we everybody, this has been we're if you're just joining us a little late, we've been talking for over an hour again.
it's
Like,
already been an hour.
yeah, it's already been an hour. Like I said,
Man.
my last 4 or 5 shows have gone over an hour because the conversation has been so engaging.
Mm.
But we're with my very special guest and friend, Joshua Upshaw, super talented character designer with Floyd County Production. If you could give one piece, if you could, well, I'll pose this in 2 questions. One,
Mm.
if you could go back to your younger self, what would be the one, I guess, piece of advice that you would tell your younger self?
So don't try.
To don't try.
Mm.
What would be your best piece of advice for somebody just getting into this industry or saying, hey, this is something I want to do? Would it be that same bit of advice or would it be something different?
Um, See, what I've learned is like the advice that I have for myself and the advice for I have other people is completely different. Um, I have to be blunt with myself. I have to be straightforward with myself. I have to not sugarcoat stuff for myself. That's just my personality.
Yeah.
And I understand that that doesn't work well for everybody, but it works well for me. I say to not try, because I felt like in the relation to me, like how I would interpret that is because like so long I tried to impress people. I tried to go like certain things that I know I didn't want to do, but I did them anyway.
Yeah.
Like joining the military.
Yeah.
I tried to go into college when I thought it was where everybody said, "Oh, you should do this."
Yeah. That's where
Like so, just like don't go against yourself. Don't try to impress others. Don't try to do stuff that you don't want to do.
or
Like you know what you want to do.
people's expectations of how they think
Yeah.
you should.
Don't just don't try. I mean, if in regards to my work, I feel like if I have to force it, then I shouldn't be doing it. That means I don't love it. That means I'm not going to put my all into it, and I don't need to try to do anything like that.
Yeah.
Everything should come natural to me. And for the most part, even with my characters that I design, I don't try to do them. I just do them. Like it's not something that I have to force myself to do. And I feel like if you have to force yourself to do anything, well, not anything. If you have to force yourself to do something that you consider yourself passionate about, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's just my own personal philosophy for me. As far as in like people that's trying to get into the industry, I would say consistency, effort, and patience are needed, and networking, especially networking. Don't discount the power of networking.
Yeah.
I'm only in a position that I'm in right now, mainly because of other people. Like work, of course, like hard work, degree, dedication is important, but also network.
Yeah.
Be kind to people. Um, Not fake kind either. Don't be kind in a way to get something out of people.
Yeah.
Just be kind because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, like just be kind, network with people, talk to people, be open with people, open to critiques. Don't take things personally.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. I mean, that's. I mean, they sound like common sense, but in
Very
practice,
hard for some people to do, for sure.
they're much harder to do. And those were things that's much harder for me to do, like personally. So, I mean, if you have all those things down packed, then hey, you got it in the bag. But as far as in art goes, like I've had a lot of people reach out to me about drawing in particular,
Yeah.
and I'm not a teacher. I'm an artist. I don't know how to teach what I do. I just do. And I would say if you want to learn, then you have to put in the work yourself. You have to either find somebody who knows how to teach, because teaching is a skill itself. I don't
Yeah.
have teaching skills.
Yeah.
So find a teacher who's knowledgeable that can teach you.
Yeah.
I had a lot, or find a mentor who's good at teaching. Because I had a lot of teachers and mentors, and just like artists who I've learned from, not through their direction, but just being around them.
Yeah.
Let's see. So don't shut off any avenues of learning. Like even people like very like people full of criticism, like very critical people.
Yeah.
Like I've learned a lot from them uh, by listening to like the message, like reading between the lines of what they're saying or what they're trying to say. And and last thing, like when it comes to character design, one of my teachers, Chris Carmen, would say, you would imagine what the dumbest person in the room, what question would they ask? And if they ask that question, then change it on your design. So, yeah. You want to appeal to the dumbest person in the room. Because that's majority of your audience. No, I'm just kidding.
That's yeah. This is gonna be
I'm just kidding.
but now to your point about teaching, it is a skill in and of itself, and I often thought about it myself because and it's funny, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, He's doing a course on teaching people how to do podcasting, and he was always saying, and I would always kind of think, oh man, I would love to do like tutorials and things like that, but I always thought it's a different skill set of explaining in a very practical step that people can understand the things that you do, and not everybody is good at it as far as explaining and keeping people entertained along the way, interested enough along the way to still stick with whatever it is that you're teaching. So it is, again, like I said, a skill set that's just not everybody has. They're able to do the work, but to explain what they do is sometimes a big jump to take, for sure.
Yeah.
And this has been such a great show, Joshua. So enjoyed having you on. First and foremost, one, brother, I appreciate, and I'm so thankful that we connected on LinkedIn and have built a friendship. Like I said, I don't have guests on, I have my friends on. I really do consider you a friend.
Thank you.
You've just taught me a lot just in this little bit here. And so
Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing.
I
have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just winging it all the way through. Even this.
when you really think about it, we're all winging it. Nobody knows how to be a parent. You learn that along the way. Nobody knows.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
A husband, you learn, or a wife, you learn life along the way, and everybody's kind of winging their journey. But like I said, if you keep yourself open to really, like you said, being a good person and just learning things from people that you come across with and connect with, it'll make you that much better of a person. And I've definitely learned a lot from you and look to continue to learn a lot from you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you as a friend, you as a veteran, and what you've gone through, and your journey that you're on. And really excited to have you back on to talk about the cool projects that you're working on now and have in the future, for sure. Everybody, this has been a great show. Make sure that you connect with Joshua, connect with him on his Instagram page, Jumps the Artist. He's also active on LinkedIn as well. You can connect with him there. LinkedIn, Jumps Art.
I post a lot of inappropriate things, so. And I have dark humor, so if you don't appreciate that, fuck off.
And that's what I was telling. Like I said, that's what I was telling my friend. I would love to work. I want to work on a lot of different type of projects, and my humor can be, like I said, I got started because I love comic strips. I love Peanuts, and I love, I wasn't a big Disney fan per se, although I watched Disney. I was more Warner Brothers, but I love
Batman and stuff.
My range goes from children's, creating children's animations or projects, to the more adult, because that's just the way my range in humor kind of swings. So I love doing a lot of different type of things. So I didn't want to, like I said, hold myself into just, okay, I do more adult humor, or I do more mainstream humor, or I do just children's humor. I love the whole thing myself, and whatever story kind of resonates with me that I'm trying to get out, then that's what I kind of like to do. Connect with Joshua. Check out more of his work on his ArtStation page. You'll see a lot more great work from him, for sure. He's also active on his Twitter account as well. Let me throw that up there. Jumps the Artist.
And you got all the handles.
We got all the handles here on The Color of Motion. It has been, like I said, one of the more colorful shows, I will say, for sure.
It's my camera, man.
I can
Look how saturated my colors are. on the color of motion.
I can appreciate that so much. I'm going to throw up some great comments in here. Mr. Day One, cool ass interview.
I like how he censored ass.
Oh man, yes, for sure. Like I said, Jawan, this has been one of the more non-PG related interviews that I've had for sure, and it's been enjoyable. Mr. Jordan Crenshaw, I appreciate you joining in, brother. Great show and some.
I was sober the whole way through. Just imagine when I start drinking.
Miss Tammy Jones, appreciate you.
Hey, that's my cousin, I think.
Family support.
There's only one Tammy.
Hey, we love it.
Appreciate you, cuz.
I'm not sure if this is a question mark, so I'm assuming you know what this is.
That's my illegitimate son. I'm sorry about that. I'm still trying to duck and dodge him.
Too funny for sure. Mr. Bubba Gump. Hey, okay.
Look at the picture. So you can imagine, I think these are my friends. And
oh man, you should come up with some great characters then if you got some
now you know why my characters are so colorful. My friends, they're reflective of my friends.
Oh man, hey, that's what it's all about. You draw from your surroundings, man. That's where real good content comes from. You just draw from what you know. Oh man, I love it. This has been one of the more fun shows for sure. Joshua, as always, man, I appreciate you and thank you so much for
thank you for having me.
For sure. And I definitely plan on looking to bring you back later on in 2021. So like I said, that you can hopefully by then you'll be able to share with us a little more in detail about the cool ass projects that you're working on now. Sure.
Don, next time you see me, I'm gonna probably be in a suit. There's gonna be a limousine behind me. Pull up.
No,
I'm probably not that fancy.
I'm trying to picture you in a suit. You know,
it's a horrible image.
Oh man, Mr. Wayne Carnegie, I appreciate you, brother, tuning in.
Thanks, y'all.
A future guest as well. He's
oh, cool.
Yeah, out of Canada.
Canada, nice.
Yeah, great artist.
I plan on moving up there when America goes to shit. So just move, just create some room for us. It's gonna be a lot of us. So
I'm telling you, like I said, we appreciate it. Mr. Michael Quincy, always gotta give my boy a shout out. What's going on, fellas? Actually, like I said, plan on having him. You know, we were mentioning about ZBrush. This guy's a killer ZBrush artist, man.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think he did that Rihanna and ZBrush.
Yeah, man.
I think I've seen that before. I shared it as well.
The Rihanna.
See, I really appreciate ZBrush because I understand how difficult it is, and animation too. Like all the things that I've done, like storyboard and all this other stuff. Yeah, I have
it's funny, people
great appreciation for it
because all they see is just the end product.
Yeah.
They don't
oh, this looks easy. I can do this.
Yeah.
Try it.
Like now you see why it takes well, it used to. It doesn't quite take them that long now, but it used to take companies 2-3 years to put out an animated film, but it's a lot of work, and it's a lot
of work
to it, which I highly recommend people always watch the behind the scenes when you get a movie or DVD. If you get DVDs now, always check out the extra shots because you really will get a big appreciation for the work that goes into the 90 minutes that we tend to enjoy.
Real quick, Don.
Yeah.
Speaking of process, that's another tip that I would like to throw out there. You have to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Like in art and in life, you have to enjoy it. Like the process. Don't focus on the end. Like enjoy the creative process of like living and artwork.
Yeah. It's always the joy that you have to enjoy.
The joy is the journey. That's what's up. I'll drink to that. I'll drink my melted ice cubes.
Yes, my melted iced tea here. We're tripping in. I gotta throw up your illegitimate sons. I'm just kidding. I hear they have their milk in bags. Poke the straw right through.
In Canada, they have their milk in bags. Is that true? That can't be true.
I have no idea. I guess it. I have no idea. I have to ask.
I'm gonna look it up now.
I have a few Canadian friends, which it's probably not true. But I was thinking it was more like what are those little things called? Those
Like Capri Suns?
yeah, Capri.
Capri Sun milk.
Like yeah, okay, he's talking about Capris.
I would be the person drinking that Capri Sun milk too.
A few more comments are coming in, Mr. Iwan. Behind the scenes glimpses are like candy for animation. Really, they are. I love even if it's not animation, whether it's a traditional film, I love the behind the scenes shots and the making of because like I said, you learn so much and you get such a deeper appreciation for the work that goes into it, for sure. Mr. Robert, Chris, you're dumb for that. I'm not sure which comment he's talking about that you're dumb for, but
probably the milk bag one.
Probably.
I'm gonna look that up now, and I'm gonna order some just so I can flex.
Okay, wait, let's see. Yes, as a Canadian, I can confirm this. I remember having a Nesquik milk bag pitcher. Oh my God. Okay.
I don't know if I want to move there now. Just because of the milk.
Nesquik milk bag pitcher. That is interesting.
That's interesting. I want some now.
This is a funny one here. Mr. Robert sounds more like Louisiana public. No, that's okay. We get totally off the rails. Okay. Oh man, like I said, like I told you, this has been one of the more fun shows for sure. And we would definitely bringing back my guy Joshua to really tell us more about what he's working on. Real quick, Joshua, if you could hang around just for a second backstage while I close this out, so I
have a gift bag for me.
Yeah, get back there for a minute there while I close this out, just so I can properly thank you and everything. So I'm going to throw you backstage. Everybody, this is, like I said, been a fun show. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in for sure. Again, make sure that you hit me up, shoot me an email, Don Terrell at don.terrell@dggraphics.com. More importantly, though, make sure you connect with me on my LinkedIn, Facebook, and more importantly, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that's where you'll be able to catch this show if you missed it, or past episodes, plus all my other curated content that I plan on putting on specifically YouTube. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can go to youtube.com/Don Terrell. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification and the bell icon so that you can be notified of when I go live. Again, I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Make sure that you tune in next week, because next week's guest is going to be just as great. Great brother I've connected with some time ago. Awesome. Actually, he's an awesome teacher as well, instructor. I met him when he was teaching modeling with Lightwave. That's how I first met him. Sean Bellinger, lead 3D modeler with Electronic Arts. So that's going to be a great show for sure. Look forward to seeing everybody back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. 3 p.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday afternoon. Again, make sure you connect with me on my 3 channels. Until then, you guys have a great rest of the day. You have a great rest of the week, and I will see you, of course, next week.